distance. Wakili, I don't know if you ever pulled a punch in as far as boxing is concerned, but of course we had the African Boxing Championship going down in Kinshasa, Congo, and our pugilists did very, very well, actually. We won a gold through Mugunde after a very, very long time.
Before we move to boxing, the issue of ADAC is actually a very sad situation. Fortunately or unfortunately, we have trainings for lawyers that to ensure compliance with the World Anti-Doping Agency worldwide, and Kenya is currently on the red. So with the tribulations facing ADAC, I think it's only fair that the government moves with speed to try and curb the situation. We cannot be having an agency that is responsible for ensuring that our players meet the standards worldwide for us to participate. Yet the agency in charge of it are still facing issues of not having rent and internet. I mean, it's a very sad situation. I think the government should move with speed to try and solve that. Now, back to boxing, it was a good time for Kenya to shine. I mean, moving from 17th in 2022, and now we are third after the usual giants, the Moroccos and DRC Congo, who happened to have been the host. And you look at the performance generally, the fact that we are able to start getting back to it. I mean, it's not a mean feat to move from 17th to 3rd. Most people would have expected that maybe if you're 17th, next year you move to maybe 10th before. But we did that huge jump from 17th to that. And Mugunde winning against, I think, the Rwandan, the Burundi, no, it's Burundi. He's up the Burundi, Nesta. I cannot pronounce that other name, yes. But he was poised to win this. Having On Mugunde winning that was a plus for us. And but I also want to ask, what is it that Morocco is doing differently for them to be dominating? Because you move to football, Morocco is dominating Africa, and now with the African boxing again, we see them having the highest number of goals.
I think it's in
that, actually. Morocco, actually, they pride themselves not to be part of Africa. Remember, at one point, they were really pitching
to join the EU.
Yes.
EU. And there's one stretch in Morocco where you are, the distance between Morocco and the Spaniard island, actually it's 15 kilometers, and you can go using a boat. And actually, most immigrants from West Africa go through that route and hope to make it in Spain. Some, of course, are successful, some not. Now, Morocco have invested in massive sport infrastructure. Yeah. You are looking at just the road network is out of this world. You are looking at the kind of stadia. Actually, when Gor Mahia made the infamous trip
to
RS Berkane, actually, I was there when they arrived at Berkane, the match venue, 15 minutes to kick off, and with a depleted squad of 13 players. Now, that was Berkane as a club. All those clubs in the top tier, they have home venues, stadiums of their own that have all the basic requirements. You look at how they invested in junior sport, the under 23, under 20, and all that. And it explains why even they're hosting most of these events. And remember, they're going to host World Cup alongside Portugal and Spain. Sometime back, they'd hoped they could win the bid to host the World Cup. They are ready with all the infrastructure. But remember, even getting the bid to win, to host this World Cup and whatnot, it's also a political process. So it explains from where I sit why they're doing very well in these sports.
I think I covered a story for Zarika some time back, and she was telling me that even Kenyan boxers, if you want to practice, you practice on your own. There's no any support. There's no place for boxers to go and do it and train. When you want to go outside, and as much as you're going even to put the flag of Kenya above in the world, again, you have to facilitate yourself going and coming. So there's just a lot of things that are happening in the boxing industry here in Kenya that needs to be addressed. We always look at the basketball, we always look at football. Now everyone is looking at football because of the election. Basketball, of course, we were there a little bit. We talked about it. Nothing has happened. Athletic Kenya, nothing has happened. But again, in boxing, there is a hole that needs to be to be discussed, and things need to be straightened up.
Steve, in 10 seconds.
You see, I do human interest stories.
A lot. I agree.
And there is a story I did in Makongeni.
Yes.
A social hall that has been grabbed. Apparently, I think it's a church. So you see, ask Ruben Dolo, he'll tell you.
Yeah.
These are areas where Kenyans used to train boxing and all such sports like karate we've seen in Kakuma. But again, I have to say that I'll commend the President, William Ruto, for what he's doing. Putting up Talanta Sports City. It's one of its own since 1987. A stadium that was put up by the late Mzee Daniel Arap Moi. He had the vision of this country because that is a sports complex that hosts all sports: swimming, volleyball, basketball, boxing. It has a hotel. It has everything under one roof. And that is what I think after how many years, 1987 to 2024? We are going to have at Talanta Sports City. And it's a request again to the President. Let him map out all those facilities that have been taken up and return them to the people.
Even here in Woodley here, we have a social hall for boxing. Actually, I think I had clips even. Yeah, we saw it. And imekuwa kama mahali ya kuweka vitu za kufanya za kujenga. Imekuwa mchanga, imekuwa kila, it's a store.
Okay. Let's move on now. One of the biggest bodybuilding competitions in East Africa, the Mr. and Miss East Africa Building Contest, returned to Kenya for its third edition, where the best competitors in the region competed across 15 categories for a grand prize of over 3 million shillings. But as Emmanuel Ndongo reports, the sport is yet to gain much traction in Kenya, especially amongst women.
Is the reigning Miss East Africa champion in the wellness category. So let's check out her training in her final week of preparation as she looks to defend her title.
The contest attracted elite athletes and bodybuilding enthusiasts from all over East Africa, which is attributed to the growing fitness culture in the region. I joined Brenda, who was kind enough to walk us through one of her training sessions at her gym in South B, Nairobi, as she prepared for the big day.
In today's session, I'm working mostly on my quads. But still you can do this workout targeting the glute muscles. But today my main target is just the quads.
So what is bodybuilding? Well, it's a show of the size, shape, leanness and symmetry of one's muscles where a panel of judges decides the winner. This is naturally quite subjective, but one component that is key for all bodybuilders is how lean they can get.
Right now, we are supposed to get rid of all the water, all the liquid in us. As in, you're supposed to be very lean. So this cardio helps us remove all the fat that is still remaining in the body. Yeah, that is why we need cardio so much.
Competitors are required to present their bodies on stage as favorably as possible. So on top of the grueling work that they put in to mold their physique, bodybuilders also tirelessly perfect their stage routine and posing to get an edge.
My category, mostly they look at the lower body most of the time because my category, I'm supposed to have a pear shape. It's supposed to be bigger at the bottom and then a little bit smaller at the top. So that is why most of the time I work 3 times in a week on my lower body. As much as you have gotten all the muscles, you just have to know how to present your muscles. You might be having all the muscles, but the presentation will make you get a very bad number or maybe have a very bad position. So the presentation of your muscles and the leanness of your muscles matters a lot.
Brenda's friend and training partner Elizabeth Orua was also competing at the event. It would be her biggest competition yet, but in the figure category.
In my category, I'm expected to be having a more developed upper body, especially the back. The back muscles should show more in the overall body, and the muscles that have developed, it's more on the upper body, the back, the shoulder, round, yeah.
The fitness community is expanding in Kenya, and an ever-growing number of bodybuilders are engaging in competitions despite the absence of an active federation governing the sector. Brenda and Elizabeth described the contest as a key challenge in their careers, but they lamented over the negative social perceptions of women bodybuilders, which has hampered the growth of female talent in the country.
Most of the people have not embraced that women can also do this. You know, just standing on stage, you're naked. Let me say naked, but you are not naked because you are in a bikini. There's no difference with someone who is swimming. Yeah. So what I want to tell people is that they should embrace this sport because it is a sport like any other sport.
At the time of recording, Brenda had just over a week before the competition. Months of preparation went into this one event. So will the work pay off? Will she repeat the feat? It would all be played out for on stage.